Just Jack the Ripper. We're gonna pick up where we last left off.
What are we doing, Holmes?
There are a few pieces of a large glass jar in this puddle. The man who left the footprints on the ground must have walked in it while fleeing. Going by its size, this enormous trunk must be a wardrobe.
Where's the earliest date? Hmm.
I am under the impression that the dates written correspond to the battles, Holmes, but one is missing.
American Civil War battles.
Yeah, we're gonna go grab pizza and then we're gonna go home.
I am under the
So this
impression...
one is a red herring. Fort Sumter. Hmm.
I am under the impression that the dates written correspond to the battles, Holmes, but one is missing.
Hmm. Hmm. Vicksburg is the key. Hmm. Vicksburg is the key. Plotted. Fuck it.
Going by its size,
Okay. I don't fully understand how to put the code in. The morrow is the key. Got this one open. that? Chancellorsville. April 27th, which would be the 4th month. Hmm. Hmm. This is a 62. July, August, September, which would be make this 09. Mexican flag. Fort Sumter.
Elementary.
Oh, what the hell?
This is dreadful, Holmes. This trunk contains 4 jars in which organs are floating.
Watson, can you tell me at a glance what these organs are?
I would say that they are parts of female reproductive organs.
Are these specimens fresh?
No, and I am quite certain of it. From the colour and appearance, I'd say these organs have been in these jars for several months, if not years.
Let's go to Baker Street.
Is there someone here?
Yes.
What's going on, Finley? You seem to be in a panic.
The 2 police officers wanted to know if someone suspicious had entered here. The Whitechapel killer has struck again, and if I understood correctly, he killed 2 women in the past few hours.
Where?
I don't know. The police didn't tell me anything.
Quick, Holmes, we must catch up with them.
Certainly not, Watson. Mr. Finley, do you know if the doctor had any other pieces of luggage up there apart from this trunk?
1 or 2, I think.
Do you take care of the doctor's laundry?
My wife does laundry for the tenants once a week. The sheets likewise.
Would you be kind enough to let us know as soon as possible if the doctor shows up again?
Certainly. I'm just worried that he won't be back, you see, and I'm annoyed about my keys.
Holmes, I don't follow. The Whitechapel killer is, at this very moment, very close by, and we are just staying put, twiddling our thumbs.
The Whitechapel killer has always been nearby, and what will we do? Go back to the scene of the crime or crimes and mix with the onlookers and trample the crime scenes even more? No, our time will come. Let's return to Baker Street.
Let's go back to Baker Street. Home, sweet home. We were less than 200 feet away from the first victim a few minutes before she was murdered. We might even have heard the murderer's voice, and we haven't done a thing for the past week.
You're the one not doing anything, Watson. For my part, I have been working, and as you know, I've made good use of this week by tracking down and verifying all of the solid facts on these 2 murders to write up the notes that are on my desk, read them over again, and try to gain a bit of perspective.
Excuse me. Notes on the murder, Lizzie Stride made at the Dotfield Yard. Certain informants has collected must be. I have collected must be verified. My nickname, Long Liz, 45-year-old, height 5'5". Why is that not in centimeters or meters? This is in London, after all. They've been using that for measurements. Occasional prostitute, she lived for the past 3 years in a stormy relationship with a certain kidney. A waterside laborer, 36 years of age, who she left a few days earlier. She charged him with assault but failed to appear in court, and the case was thrown out. Victim was discovered dead by one Louis Demesas, who at 1 o'clock in the morning on September 30th. The man's first thought was to verify if his wife in the building next door was still alive before sounding the alarm. 2 doctors who came, the police requested the area of the crime in the moments after discovery of the corpse. Put the time of death after 12:46 a.m. The cause of death, hemorrhage due to throat injury. The weapon was a small knife with a large blunt edge. The verification statement is necessary. Could this wound have been caused by another tool? Neither the body nor the clothes were damaged, soiled, or disturbed by the killer. The right hand was open, stained with blood, and resting on the chest. The left hand on the ground, partially closed, holding a packet of pastilles. The location of discovery was a courtyard called the Dotfield Yard. Or Dutfield? I'm not gonna say it right. I'm gonna butcher no matter what. Whose doors led into Burner Street. in Whitechapel. These victims was found stretched out on the ground a few inches from the wall. One of the buildings severed by the Courtyard International Working Men's Club. This association comprised mainly of Jews originally from Russia and Poland, were organizing a conference that night on the subject. Why should Jews be socialists? Presided by Mr. Morris Eagle. The meeting ended around 11:30 p.m., but many members remained to debate and sing within the premise of the association. An American present that evening declared to have been in the courtyard at 12:20 a.m., went into the street and didn't see anything unusual. He then returned back inside the club, but his estimation of time spent outside is approximate at best. Two witnesses were quoted by the press: Constable Smith, who was doing his rounds in the area on the night in question, and a Hungarian by the name of Schwartz, or Charlottes. I think that's how it's pronounced. Hope I'm not butchering that. Who made a statement at the police station accompanied by an interpreter because he does not speak English. The transcription of these statements by the press should be treated with caution. It would be advisable, if at all possible, to consult the exact content. Observe the clothing worn by the victim as well in her possessions of the time of the discovery of the body. Clothing: long black cloth jacket, fur trimmed around the bottom with red rose and white maiden hair, fern pinned to it. Black skirt, black crepe bonnet, the check neck scarf knotted left on the left side, dark brown Volavatan bodice, two light serge petticoats, one white chasuble, white stockings, spring-sided boots, two handkerchiefs. One is noted to have fruit stains on it, a thimble, a piece of wool around a card, wound around a card, in the pocket of her underskirt, a key, a small piece of lead pencil, 6 large and 1 small button, a comb, a broken piece of a comb, a spoon, a hook, as one from a dress, a piece of muslin, 1 or 2 small pieces of paper. Note on the murderer: Catherine Eddowes. Catherine Eddowes, 46 years old, height 5 foot, occasional prostitute. She had regular relationships for 7 years with John Kelly, a man of no regular employment and about the same age as the victim. Excuse me. The victim was found dead at 1:44 a.m. on September 30th by P.C. Watkins, who was on his rounds. He searched the area by calling the watchman of the warehouse, locating some feet from the crime scene, according to the doctor, who arrived on the scene at 2:18 a.m. The victim had been dead for a half hour. Unlikely, but we know from experience how hard it is to precisely establish the time of death when the corpse has been very mistreated. Cause of death: hemorrhage due to throat wound. The medical examiner also confirms that additionally the extractions committed on the corpse were done post-mortem by a right-handed man possessing a long bladed knife. The victim was subject to numerous mutilations. The victim was found stretched down the dark corner of the Mitri Square, notorious meeting spot for prostitutes and their clients because its remote, poorly lit location. It should be noted that these victims was freed from the bishop Bishopgate, Bishopgate Street. Police drunk tank at 1 o'clock in the morning. Mitri Square was visited at 1:30 a.m. by P.C. Watkins coming from Mitri Street. I'm probably butchering the name of these streets, so I'm very sorry for any British folks who are watching this or are going to watch this. And at 1:42 a.m. by P.C. Harvey coming from the church passage. 2 police constables did see anything suspicious in the area, but should be noted that P.C. Harvey didn't enter into Maestri Square, unlike P.C. Watkins. The watchman who came to lend a hand to Watkins at the time of discovery of the body had been awoken during the time of the crime. His door is located a few feet from the spot where the victim was dying and didn't hear anything until the police called. Firstly, we must note that the clothes are worn by and are very characteristics, I think, in particular. Pattern green, she has the skirt as well as white men's vests. A few possessions, including a thimble, were found around the corpse. The white apron was found on the corpse with a part missing. This is missing part previously resewn, thus ensuring authenticity. Was found at 2:55 a.m. on the night of the murder by P.C. Alfred Long, who states that the object wasn't there to his preceding patrol at 2:20 a.m. A piece of bloody apron was found in the entrance hall leading to the stairs of a 108-119. Wentworth Mile dwellings on the Goulston Street. I think that's a G or is that a C? I struggle with cursive, I'm not going to lie. At the right of the entrance, just above the apron, was found the following inscription in chalk. Jews are not the men that will be blamed for nothing. The Jews are not the men that will be blamed for nothing. The Wentworth model buildings, almost exclusively occupied by the Israelites, and the Goulston Streets being the site of a very popular, much frequented market. He decided to erase the inscription before the day broke. Kate Edoa's belongings, wearing at the time of her murder, black straw bonnet, trimmed in gray and black velvet with black beads, black strings, worn and tied to the head, black cloth jacket trimmed around the collar, and cuffs with imitation fur around the pockets, and a black silk braid and fur, large metal buttons. Dark green shaded skirt, three flounces, brown butt. Oh no. Florence? Louts? I don't know. Brown buttons on the waistband, the skirt in the pattern with Michael, which Miss Calamus says a best skirt, not gonna say it. Daisies of the golden lilies. Man's white vest, matching buttons down front. Brown linsey bodice, black velvet collar with brown buttons down the front. Gray stuffed petticoat with white waistband. Berry green alpaca shirt worn as an undergarment. Very old and ragged blue skirt with red flounces, light twiddling linking, worn as an undergarment. Also, Caliocini's pair of men's laced-up boots with mohair laces. Right boot repaired with red thread. One piece of red gauze silk worn as a neck neckerchief. So an ascot, I think. One large white pocket handkerchief, one large white cotton handkerchief with red and white bird's eye bordered. Two unbleached callio pockets, tape strings, one blue string, one blue strip bed ticklet pocket, brown rib knee stockings, darkened with white carton, possessions, two small blue bags, two short black clay pipes, one tin box containing tea, one tin box containing sugar, one tin matchbox, empty, 12 pieces of white rags, one piece of linen, white, one piece of blue and white shirting, three-cornered, one piece of red flannel with the pins and needles, 6 pieces of soap, one small tooth comb, one white-handled table knife, one metal spoon, one red leather cigarette case with white metal fittings, one ball of hemp, one piece of old white apron with repair, several buttons and thimbles, and a thimble. Mustard tins containing 2 pawn tickets, one in the name of Emily Barrel, 52 white rose dated August 31st. ND or 9D for a man's flannel shirt. The other is in the name of Jane Kelly of 6 Dorset Street and dated September 28th. 2S for pair of men's boots. Both addresses are false. Printed handbill, portion of the spectacles, one red mitten.
I have read and reread them, but give me something to do then. A task where I can get stuck in, because...
Find me a slaughterhouse that will give us exclusive use of its block for an hour, and find me, in your opinion, which common animal shares the most characteristics with humans from a physiological point of view?
Pig?
I don't even know why I asked that question. Pray, find a dozen fresh pig's heads, Watson. Not big heads, I prefer small ones.
Sows?
That's it, Watson. As soon as you have done that, let me know. I request that you search in Whitechapel. Who knows, perhaps you will learn something about where Dr. Tumblety may be hiding. There is also no shortage of slaughterhouses and pig's heads in those parts.
Okay.
What a ridiculous idea to have asked Holmes for something to do. Where on earth am I going to find what he wants? Perhaps that kind Lucy will be able to help me.
You got a pretty penny or some bread?
You're in a rush, my pretty? Come, I'll have you done so quickly you'll only have time to pay.
tell me, is it...
If you're looking for a princess lover, you found her.
I have nothing to ask. I have nothing to ask.
Maybe she's over at the brothel.
I must go to Miss Bella's. Good evening, Lucy. But is something wrong?
Good evening, Dr. Watson. Yes, it's my uncle. He's no longer with us.
Please accept my condolences, miss.
Thank you, Doctor. But why are you here? Can I help you?
My request may sound rather strange, but do you know if there is a butcher's or slaughterhouse in the area where pigs are killed?
Yes, Fletcher's the man. He was a regular client, owner of a little butcher's shop not far. But Miss Bella didn't want him to come, as long as he didn't treat his awful sickness.
Can you point to his shop on my map?
Certainly.
Do you know anything about the 2 latest murders?
Oh, goodness me, no. All the girls in the neighbourhood are terrified. Who will be next? That's what everyone is asking.
Goodbye, Lucy.
Until next time, perhaps, Doctor.
No, that's no use. Ah, there's Fletcher's butcher shop.
Got a shilling, Gov?
Closed due to illness. If the proprietor is ill, the butcher's block is probably not being used. Perhaps I can use it. Now, where could a sick butcher have got to?
Well, really a clinic right here.
Yes, if Fletcher is ill, he should be here.
Good evening, Dr. Watson.
Good evening, Dr. Gibbons. I have come to see you because I was wondering if, by any chance, you happen to have a patient by the name of Fletcher, a butcher who would have relinquished his shop due to illness. An illness caught during nocturnal encounters, if you catch my drift.
Fletcher is one of the regulars at the clinic. Mercury treatment against syphilis. A night with Venus, a lifetime with Mercury. He left London a fortnight ago for the fresh country air. Why is he of interest to you?
Oh, no reason. I'm more interested in using his shop, only for an hour or so. Would he have left his keys with family in the area?
He has none left, but he must have left Hardiman, the cat's meat seller, to oversee his shop. They're in business, they're good friends.
Do you know where he can be found?
No, but wander around the neighbourhood and listen for his beeps. He often passes in front of the clinic. Besides...
It's me that you're looking for, sweetheart.
Actually, no. I am looking for the cat food seller, Hardiman.
Hardiman? Poor Hardiman. It isn't quitting time for him yet. That gives me some time to wander the streets before he shows up, and with him all the cats hereabouts.
Do you know where he lives?
Sure, and for a copper I might even tell you.
Here are a few coins.
You're too kind, Governor. Well, these days I knows that he lives with his mammy on Hanbury Street, in the same place where Dark Annie bled to death.
Why did you call him poor Hardiman?
Bah, he's in grieving, of course. Just a few weeks ago he lost his wife, and 3 months before that his girl, poor fella. He was in tatters, even came to cry on my shoulder, believe it or not.
Well, I must leave you. I must go to Hanbury Street. This is the building in which poor Annie Chapman was killed. Beep beep! Beep beep! Hello, are you Mr. Hardiman? That's me. I am Dr. Watson. I have come to see you about Fletcher's shop. I would like to use it for an hour or two, if you have the keys and your rates are reasonable.
Do you want to operate on someone in the butcher's?
Not at all. One of my friends needs it to prepare pig's heads.
Well, why not? Fletcher certainly wouldn't mind, but there's a problem.
A problem? How so?
This morning, the neighbour above broke his key in the door. The old boy must have already had a drink.
So?
Well, I tried my best to unjam it with Fletcher's spare key, which is pretty thin, and bam, that one broke too.
Hard luck. But if you have the end of the broken key, perhaps it can be fixed.
It must still be upstairs. I didn't pick it up. Fletcher has a key too, so I didn't think it was a problem. Fancy, if I just had another key with a simpler blade, I could copy it. I'm great at odd jobs.
Fine, I will try to find all of that. Well, see you later then.
Goodbye, sir.
I have no reason to go that way. I have no reason to go that way. This key was left inadvertently. Indeed, there is nothing terribly precious inside. But what a stench! Oh, no. But what a... Ah, how dreadful! My word! These are innards. This bag contains butcher's equipment. Kebabs, the same as Hardiman's, so he prepares his meat here. I found it!
Have you found everything I need to remake the key?
There you go. I think you'll manage with all of this.
I'm sure I will, sir. It won't take me long.
Say, I think there's some of your business upstairs.
Oh, you're right. I ain't had the time to sort it out. Sometimes I'm in such a hurry to prepare my meat that I forget to clean up.
But why do it in the stairwell?
Offal bleeds bucket loads, they do, as you've seen. Now, why would I do that in my own lodgings? Ah, of course. But what about your poor neighbours? They owe it to me, all the times I've helped them out. And I don't have a shop either. Say, you sell animal meat, isn't that right? Would you know where I could find a dozen small pig's heads? The guy who gets me my offal should have some. I'll pay your day's wages if you meet me at Fletcher's butcher shop in 2 hours with the pig's heads. Here's a little advance. I'll do my best, Doctor. The caretaker of another building told us that the place where your mother lives has a reputation for facilitating prostitutes' activities. Is that true? Sure, the doors are never closed. They come through here like it's Paddington Station. By the way, I heard about your loss. My condolences. Ta, sir. I saw them die slow deaths. My little girl, her face was eaten by the disease. Thank you, my friend, and please forgive me for bringing up such painful memories. Go, I must do my rounds, and I will look for what you've asked for. As for me, I will go and find Holmes, and we will go to the butcher's together. Let's return to Fletcher's butcher shop. Your heads are on the block inside. Say, you wouldn't be the same chap who bought my whole load the other day.
It's possible, but if you want to continue to do business together, you mustn't speak of my presence in the area to anyone.
Don't worry, my lord. I'll be as quiet as a church mouse. Holmes, will you explain the reason and rhyme behind this masquerade?
Elementary. We shall conduct an experiment that will allow us to answer a simple question. Does the type of weapon used by the killer correspond to a specific profession? And here are our sow's heads. Congratulations, Watson.
You're welcome, Holmes, but what do you really want to do? Take up a collection?
And here are our sow's heads.
You're welcome, Holmes, but what?
There is nothing further to find in this room, Watson. However, I need some knives. Our only hope is behind this door. There is nothing further to find in this room, Watson. However, I need some... There is nothing further to find in this... There is nothing further to find in this room, Watson. However, I need... I need something. I need something. There is nothing further to find in this room, Watson. However, I need some knives. Our only hope is behind... I need something.
What do you think, Holmes?
I need something. I need something. And here are our sow's heads.
You're welcome, Holmes, but what do you...
This wheel is broken and prevents... This wheel is broken and... This wheel is broken and prevents the door from sliding. This wheel is broken and prevents the door from... This wheel is broken and prevents the door from sliding. This wheel is broken and... There, this door is slightly raised. Elementary. While I prepare our experiment, could you find me 2 knives? A small one, somewhat larger than a pocket knife, with a large, sharp blade. We'll need it to separate the bones and to cut through the thick skins. Then find me a long knife that's at least 13 inches long, no shorter, that's sharp and has a thick blade.
Fine, Holmes, but I'd like to tell you about Hardiman. Do you know that he prepares his kebabs himself, and...
That he owns butcher's tools and uses offal? That's obvious, Watson. Pray, take my magnifying glass and my rule and get started, Watson. Find me these 2 knives.
With the rule, I must find a large...
That is sharp and has a thick blade.
Thanks to the magnifying glass, I can find a small knife that matches Holmes's description. Fragments of cartilage. Fragments of cartilage. Fragments of cartilage. Size 11 inches. Size 7 inches. Size 10 inches. Size 13 inches. Size 8.5 inches. Size 6 inches. Size 6.5 inches. Size 7 inches.
Somewhat larger than a pocket knife. With a sharp blade.
Size 7 inches. Size 11 inches. Size 10 inches. Size 6 inches. Size 6.5. Size 7 inches. Size 8.5 inches. Here are your knives, Holmes.
No, Watson.
Here are your knives, Holmes.
No, Watson.
Here are your knives, Holmes.
No, Watson.
Large size. Fragments of cartilage. Fragments of cartilage. Large size. Fragments of cartilage. Fragments of cartilage. Here are your knives, Holmes.
No, Watson.
Yeah, I know the big one has to be one of them.
Fragments of cartilage. Fragments of cartilage. Here are your knives, Holmes.
No, Watson.
It's 13 inches long, no shorter, that's sharp and has a thick blade.
Large size. Large size. Large size. Fragments of cartilage. 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 Fragments of cartilage. Fragments of cartilage. Fragments of cartilage. Here are the knives you asked for. Be careful, they're awfully sharp. Holmes, I must say that this experiment is making me rather uneasy, comparing animal heads to these poor women.
You're right, Watson, but this somewhat shocking experiment may help to end this massacre and save other victims, you can be sure of that. Look, these pigs' heads are still bloody, which will suit our experiment perfectly. I have a pocket knife and a scalpel with me. With the 2 knives you just brought me, we have a similar array of weapons as those probably used by the killer. We saw 3 types of throat wounds on the deceased attributed to this man, those intended to slit the throat, those intended to decapitate, and the more superficial yet mortal wound that led to the death of the unfortunate victim in Dutfield's yard, Miss Stride. With the help of these 4 knives, we are going to try to recreate these wounds on the pigs' heads and see what we can establish about the weapon or weapons used. We may also be able to rule out Miss Stride as a victim of the killer of the other 3. Let's try to use these weapons on this head to obtain a large deep wound to the throat, like those that were noted on 3 of the 4 victims. This little knife is very sharp and has a very wide blade. This pocket knife is very sharp, but its blade Look, Watson, this knife easily penetrates the flesh. Let's try to decapitate our victim with these tools, knowing that the killer didn't quite manage to do it.
Charming.
This knife with a long blade easily slices the flesh, but cannot dislocate the vertebrae. With a scalpel, the wound is too shallow. Look, Watson, this little knife with a wide base can easily slice the vertebrae of our porcine friend. The blade of this pocket knife is too thin to reach the vertebrae. Let's see if these knives can inflict a mortal wound in a situation where a single quick blow is given. The scenario in question is that of Dutfield's yard. It cuts through the flesh easily as the blade is so sharp. Look, Watson, the blade sinks easily into the flesh. In using the cutting edge of this pocket knife's blade, I can scrape the skin. This particularly sharp blade can make a deep gash with one quick slice. Let's try to use these weapons. This little knife is very sharp and has a very wide blade. This pocket knife is very sharp, but its blade is too thin. The wound is too shallow. Look, Watson, this knife easily penetrates the flesh.
Hmm.
Elementary. Let's try to decapitate our victim with these tools, knowing that the killer didn't quite manage to do it.
Charming.
This knife with a long blade easily slices the flesh, but cannot dislocate the vertebrae. Look, Watson, this little knife with a wide base can easily slice the vertebrae of our porcine friend. The blade of this pocket knife is too thin to reach the vertebrae. With a scalpel, the wound is too shallow. Elementary. Let's see if these knives can inflict a mortal wound in a situation where a single quick blow is given. The scenario in question is that of Dutfield's yard. Look, Watson, the blade sinks easily into the flesh. In using the cutting edge of this pocket knife's blade, I can scrape the skin. This particularly sharp blade can make a deep gash with one quick slice. It cuts through the flesh. Elementary. That's it, Watson, the big knife. With respect to the opinion of the medical examiners who noted that a butcher's knife with a long blade would have caused the eviscerations on some of the victims, we can assume, Watson, that he only used this type of weapon as it is capable of inflicting all of the wounds displayed. Furthermore, the Dutfield's Yard murder remains attributable, for the moment, to the Whitechapel killer, if we are able to explain why the murderer used his knife in a different manner. Why not go there now? We will try to reenact the killer's actions that night. Our first objective will be to clarify, one way or another, the statements of Constable Smith, as well as this Hungarian by the name of Schwartz. We must also try to find out more about the International Working Men's Educational Club, underneath which the murder took place, perhaps at the Wasp's Nest.
Yes, let's go to Dutfield's Yard or wherever, but quickly. I am in urgent need of fresh air.
Let's go to the Wasp's Nest.
Give me a sec, I'm gonna go get food. Give me a sec. I'm going to pause the stream here for now.